Everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. I hope you're all having a great day. So, as I said in my last video about a new series with the favourites, if you haven't seen that, please go check it out after this video. I thought I would do a storytime series, and I got a lot of requests to do pregnancy story, birth story, motherhood stories, all things to do with Oliver, and I thought that would be a very fun idea. And I can also do Barney's story about how we got him and everything like that. So I thought I'd start it off at the beginning and do my pregnancy story, because that one was again highly requested. And I remember when I was pregnant, all I did was look at pregnancy stories, just so I basically wanted every single view I could find, and then I wouldn't be surprised or worried, because everyone's pregnancy and birth are completely different. No two are the same, even for the same person. I mean, if I had another one, it would be a completely different experience. But I thought I'd just tell you my experience and hope it helps in some ways. Now, before I get into my actual birth story, I need to rewind a little bit. My pregnancy story, sorry, I need to rewind a little bit. I'm not going to go into these issues because I'm not sure if they'll be triggering for anyone, or if it's something that you want to see. You haven't clicked on this video for this. But if you want a video on it, then please let me know. I'm more than happy to do it. I'm more than happy if it will help anyone. But, so basically, before I fell pregnant with Oliver, I had a miscarriage, and then I had a phantom pregnancy, and then I fell pregnant with Oliver. So I had a lot of drama before getting pregnant. And like I said, I'm not going to go into that. If you want to know anything about them, then let me know. Or any questions, if you've got any questions about them, then just message me over on Instagram. That's absolutely fine. But those situations kind of triggered what happened in my pregnancy. So when I fell pregnant with Oliver, obviously I was terrified. I was so scared that the same situations would happen. So I had really, really bad morning sickness. Some people have it worse than me, but I couldn't really move without throwing up. I was just really bad. Looking back now, I think it was fear and anxiety making me sick. But yeah, I had really bad morning sickness. I was constantly fearful, and yeah, so I don't know if this is just my hospital or most hospitals. I'm assuming they're all more or less the same. But you get a letter at 12 weeks, or for a 12-week scan. And mine, because I had other scans before, were around 14 weeks rather than the 12 weeks. So when I got my letter, and again it was, I'd have been 14 weeks rather than 12 weeks, I couldn't wait that long. I was worried, is there a baby? Is the baby okay? My miscarriage was a missed miscarriage, so the baby died and my body didn't recognise it until a couple of weeks later. So it was always in my mind, you know, is there a baby and is the baby okay? So I booked an early scan at 10 or 11 weeks, somewhere around there, just to be sure, because I didn't want to wait until I was 14 weeks, you know. I just needed to know everything was okay, the anxiety and everything. I suffer with anxiety anyway. I'm a very, I've had like counselling and lots of therapy and psychiatrists and everything. Again, separate video if that's what you want to see. But yeah, my mental health has never been good. So leading up to this first scan, I was just so scared. I was scared of what they'd say, and it was just worrying for me. So I remember, clear as anything, the morning of my scan, I was in the shower and I was sort of rubbing my belly, just praying, please be in there, please be okay, please just, I can't handle another something go wrong. I was just, please, 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 let this be okay, just stay with me, all of these things. I was in, we got to the scanning clinic, signed in and everything, and I was just fighting back tears. I was so scared of what they was going to say. So when I went in, the lady was, they called a sonographer, the people that do the scans. I'm not 100% sure, so I should have remembered. But I went in and she was so lovely. I told her about my history. You have to fill out a form anyway, but about history, told her I was scared, and she was lovely. So I'm laying there, she puts the scan on, and she goes, wow, your baby won't stop moving. And I was in shock, went, it's okay. She goes, yeah, can you not see? Like, look at your baby moving. She didn't say he. Obviously, she didn't know it was he. She goes, your baby just won't stop moving, look. And I was looking, I was like, it's got a heartbeat, it's okay. And she goes, yeah, look. And I just burst into tears. He was doing somersaults and flips, and she said, do you get morning sickness? And I said, yeah. She goes, this will be why. He's doing somersaults in your tummy. So, yeah, I had never been so happy. And I looked at that, and something in my head, I kept saying he. And the lady was like, oh, we don't know if it's a he. And I went, it's a boy. I'm telling you, it's a boy. All I can see in that picture is a boy. So we got the scan, everything was fine. She took a little bit longer with me because they have to do the measurements and the checks, and he just wouldn't stay still for anything. He was just, every time she got measurement, he'd move, and he was just a little active baby. And he was like that through my whole pregnancy. Every scan, except one, which I'll get into, he would not stop moving. So I went out, I was able to then tell people, and I was so excited. So then my 12-week one at the L&D came around, and I didn't have a very good experience at the hospital. I didn't have a very good experience at all. So when I went back, I was talking to my midwife before, and I was thinking about changing hospitals just because I had the worst experience. But she said, you know, the early scan, the normal, are completely different departments, you know, you'll be fine. So I thought, okay, I'll give it one last chance. If it doesn't go well, then, you know, I'm done with this hospital. But they were lovely. Went in, again, he wouldn't stop moving, he was moving around, and my sister was actually able to come with me, which I thought was lovely. She came down to see us, and yeah, it's just a coincidence. So she was able to come and see the scan before she went back home, because she lives down in Devon. So that was so lovely that she got to see a scan. And yeah, he was again just moving around, and just, they was doing all the checks. I was like, just everything's good, and they were so lovely in that. So my faith got restored in this hospital, which I was so happy about. And then, so I needed to know what I was having, a boy or a girl. I know some people like the surprise, but for me, I need to be prepared. So I was, I needed to know, am I getting blue? Am I getting pink? Am I, you know, what am I doing? I just needed to know. So I didn't want to wait until the 20-week scan at the hospital. So I booked another scan, a gender scan. And my aunt got to come, which was so lovely. She's never had kids herself, so she's never been able to experience the whole scan side of it. So lovely. She got to come. She was so excited. And yeah, they said it's a boy. And I was just... The annoying thing is, the first scan I knew was a boy. Then I kept thinking, people kept saying, no, you look like you're carrying a girl. And then I changed my mind and I convinced myself it was a girl. So then when again, are they called a sonographer? I was going over it. He said, what do you think you're having? So I said girl, which is my biggest regret because I should have stuck with my initial instincts. So if you've got an instinct, you know, it very well could be true. But yeah, it was a boy. I was so excited. Oh, so excited. And again, just knowing everything was fine. Again, he wouldn't stay still for anything. And it was just absolutely amazing. Then you have the 20-week scan, and that's when they do the test to see if they've got Down syndrome or some other sort of syndromes. And if there's anything wrong, they check the neck and do loads of checks. So that is a scary scan. That's the scan where they really check the organs and just make sure everything is fine. And this scan I was terrified of, because they say once you make it to 20 weeks, you're less likely to have baby loss. It's the first 20 weeks that once you get past that, then, you know, there's a high chance that everything's going to be fine. So yeah, I was so worried. I was like, this is the final stage, like, to see if everything's okay or not. Or not the final stage, but in my mind it was, this is the scary scan, you know. So we went, they did the checks, they did everything, and he was fine. They send the results away, and then you get a letter in the post to see if they're clear of Down syndrome. I can't remember what the other ones are called. Sorry, probably shouting down the screen at me, but a few other things they... No, and he was cleared of all, and it was just... I cried. They said everything's fine. Again, he wouldn't stop moving. They double checked and said, yes, it's definitely a boy. So, yeah, he was fine. Then, yeah, I still had quite a lot of morning sickness. I still, it was only certain foods I could have without throwing up, and I had to eat within a certain time. So when I started to feel hungry and when I threw up was like 10 minutes. So as soon as I started feeling hungry, I needed to eat, which is why I put a lot of weight on during pregnancy, because I've got a fear of throwing up, which I'm sure a lot of people do. I think it's quite common. And yeah, so I just kept eating to stop myself from throwing up. And I got to learn what foods set me off and what didn't. But it's fine. I'm also scared of needles. And so my blood type is rare. I'm a Rhesus AB negative. So because I'm a negative, if your baby is a positive, then there's a chance your body could attack those cells. So you need an injection to stop your body from doing that. And then once your baby's born, they do a blood test and see... I don't do a blood test, they just test the blood and see what's on there. If they're positive, you need another injection. I can't remember what it's called. But it's basically then to stop your body in the future as well. If you had to have a baby in the future and it's a positive, to stop your baby then, your body attacking that baby. So you need to have those, you need constant blood tests. All you do when you go in there is give them a vein. But, you know, you're going to give birth. It's a light compared to that. So, yeah, I kept going in there. They kept doing all the checks and it was fine. And like I said, I just had really bad... And the fear never went away in me. Once I got to 20 weeks, I thought it's going to be fine now. I know it's fine. but the fear inside me that something was going to go wrong just never went away. So I was never able to really enjoy my pregnancy. I was just constantly scared. Like I said, he was a very active baby, which kept me awake a lot of the time, kept making me sick. But at the same time, as soon as he went quiet, I was, wake up, wake up, wake up. I also got one of those machines that can hear the heartbeat. So you put it on your tummy and then you can hear the heartbeat. So I was constantly doing that. I would just be sitting there for ages with, I can't remember what they're called, this thing on my stomach, just listening to the heartbeat. Every time we went quiet, I was, where is it? I need to check it's okay. Like, it was just, the fear in me was constant. I was afraid of lifting anything. I was afraid of moving the wrong way. I was even afraid to sleep in case I accidentally rolled onto my tummy, which I don't think you're the conscious sort of part of you when you're asleep would actually let you do that, but just everything was just so scared. I was just terrified through the whole pregnancy. And like I said, I was eating a lot. So they do a test to see if you get gestational diabetes, which is diabetes during pregnancy. I did that. It's not a very nice test at all. It's really not very nice. What you do is you can't eat anything, which again kept wanting to make me, I think you can only have water, and water was something that made me throw up until you've had this test. So for me, that was torture because I just wanted to throw up all the time. So you go in there and you're given like a time slot. You go in there and they give you a sugary drink. You drink that, then you have to wait, is it an hour or 2 hours? Can't quite remember. You have to wait a certain amount of time, then they take your blood and then they send that away and just see if you have diabetes. So they done that. It came back negative. It was absolutely fine. I didn't have diabetes. I was very proud of myself because I was like, everything I've been eating, you know, that's good going. So I relaxed a bit. Everything seemed to be okay. Like I said, I still had the fear, but I remember when I was around like 17, 18 weeks, I wanted to start buying stuff, but I refused until the 20 weeks because I was so scared I was going to buy stuff and have stuff in my home and never use it. So my mum actually talked me into buying some things. There was a sale on in Cath Kidston and I really wanted this Cath Kidston changing bag. It was like 60 down to 40 or something, and I was like, my mum was like, just get it, it's gonna be fine, just get it. So we did, and yeah, then I was sort of buying stuff and way too much like you do. Again, I could do a video on stuff that I use and didn't use if that's helpful, but I bought way too much stuff. Half of it I didn't really use, and the stuff I did were a necessity to me. So it got to, I was 30 weeks and I booked an 4D scan. And like I said, Oliver did not stop moving. So I got to 30 weeks, I booked in this 4D scan. I was so excited, I was going to see his face. And again, my aunt came to that. She was so excited. And would you believe, I paid £100 or £99 for this scan, and Oliver did not move. Did not move once. And not only that, he had the cord in front of his face. He was clinging onto it and he had it in front of his face. So I spent all that money, couldn't really see his face, and he just wouldn't move. He was asleep, and he was being a typical male. He was asleep and not getting up for anyone. So I went in there, like I said, he was just laying there with the cord in front of his face. And the sonographer wasn't worried at all, so I wasn't worried. She gave me a sugary drink to drink. She had me moving around, jumping up and down, and he was, nope, not moving, not doing this. So, yeah, she managed to do a bit of Photoshop and get the cord out the picture in one of them, but the others, it was just, he was clinging onto it, had it in front of his face, and yeah, no matter what I did, he was not waking up. And she was lovely. I think it was like a half an hour slot, but she was with me an hour just trying to get him to move, and he wouldn't. But, you know, a typical male. He was asleep and just wasn't waking up. But she did notice he was a big baby. So she said, go back to your midwife and just tell her these measurements and just get her to book you a scan in the hospital and just double check his measurements and everything. So I said, okay, went back to my midwife booked me in with the hospital, got a scan, and there was, yeah, he is actually measuring quite big, his head's measuring quite big. We'll book him for another diabetes test and just see if it's suddenly developed, because that can be a sign for a big baby. And yeah, and then she, more or less every week then, I was having a scan just to check his measurements. So I had this diabetes test again, which I wasn't happy about, but you know, you've got to do it, and it came back positive. So I had gestational diabetes. They booked me on a course, and you basically go to the hospital and they do this big talk about everything, what you can eat, can't eat, and the causes, and just, it is really interesting to know. But yeah, there's all of that. And then like I said, I was going back then every week for scans. He still wasn't getting any smaller, which again started to worry me, because I was like, you know, this has to come out. So then I was thinking about the different types of birth I wanted. So from the beginning I was thinking about a C-section, but I didn't quite like the idea of it. And then I was thinking, oh, hypnobirthing. Like I've said before, I love Giovanna Fletcher. I absolutely adore her. And she did hypnobirthing, and I watch her Happy Mum, Happy Baby podcast a lot. So I was thinking hypnobirthing, water birth, that's what I want. Or the C-section is in the back of my head. I was talking to my cousin a lot about a C-section and what it's like and everything. Another one of my friends had a C-section, so I was talking to her about it. I was watching so many YouTube videos, just trying to get my head around every type of birth, every outcome, every situation. And my friend even said to me, you know, my birth story is a bit scary. I don't want to scare you. And I'm like, no, I want to know the worst and I want to know the best, just so I'm prepared for any situation that happens. So I went to this scan, and I was about 36 weeks, and they said, it's not getting any smaller, I need to go and talk to like the specialist upstairs. So we went up, we were sitting there, we was talking, and they was telling me about all the complications that can happen with a bigger baby. So you're likely to need forceps. This is what they were saying to me. Later on, another doctor was saying that that's not true, but I don't know. She was saying you're likely to need forceps, you're likely to have shoulder dysplasia, where the baby's collarbone gets stuck, or shoulder gets stuck under your pelvis, so they need to kind of break it to get the baby out. And basically, she was telling me all these horror stories, and all that was going through my head is, I am having a C-section. I'm telling you, I'm having a, and I said that to her, I was like, I want a C-section. I don't want to risk anything to my baby. I want a C-section. And she was, you know, here's some information about a birth with a bigger baby, C-section, everything. Go home, think about it. So we've done that, and then my next appointment at the hospital is when you sort of start talking about your birth. So I said, I want a C-section, and you're well within your right to have an elective cesarean. They'll try and talk you out of it, because they'd rather, it costs more money, I think, having, because obviously it's surgery and it's more of a risk, but you're within your right to ask for a C-section. So I did. I was like, I want a C-section. They kept trying to talk me out of it, and that's when the doctor came in and was like, oh, shoulder dysplasia is very rare. You might not, you know, you get some smaller babies that need that. It's not necessarily big babies. It's just dependent on how the baby comes out and all of this stuff, and I just looked at him and went, I'm having a C-section. So the compromise was, they put me in for my C-section at 39 weeks. If I went into labour before, then I had to try. If not, then they'll go ahead with the C-section. So I went, okay, even though in my head I was thinking, even if I go into birth, I want a C-section. I was like, that's all I want. Also, I should point out, I forgot what I was going to say then. Also, I should point out that I'm incredibly shy in that area and people being down in that area. Now, I know it comes with having a baby. You know, it's part of it. You know, you can't avoid it. It's where it comes out. But I'm incredibly shy, and they were telling me to go to my midwife and have a sweep, which terrified me. I was very, very lucky in my pregnancy that I didn't have anyone prodding around down there. I didn't need to have anyone have a look or anything. I was able to keep my dignity all through my pregnancy. And when they started talking about a sweep, I'm like, I'm so close. And that's another reason why in the beginning I was thinking about a C-section, because I was like, I can keep my dignity a lot more than have, you know, midwives, nurses, all down there looking. I know everyone said to me, once you're in labour, you don't care who's down there. You don't care. It all goes over your head. It's just, you just want the baby out. But in my head, I was still quite shy and worried, and I thought with a C-section, it's, you know, you're more or less keeping your dignity. So I didn't go for the sweep. Like I said, anxiety and everything, it was just, and like I said before, I was so scared of anything happening. I thought with the C-section, they're just cutting and pulling him out. It's not, I don't have to risk anything happening when he comes out. Even though I'm not trying to scare, this is just me in my head. So, yeah, it happened, they booked me in. And I must say, it was probably the best birth for me. I'm not going to go into that because I'm going to go into my birth story in the next video, because this one's quite long anyway. But yeah, for me it was the best. I couldn't have handled anyone down there, and just all the frustration of it and the anxious not knowing when it's happening. I knew exactly when, obviously I could have gone into labour beforehand, but I knew exactly this is the last day I'm going to be pregnant and he's going to come out, and you just kind of know within, well, I think it's within like 10, even that, 5 or 10 minutes of being in surgery, your baby's born. So they get them out quick, but then it's, the bit that takes the time is them stitching you back together, you know. But by that time you've got your baby, you don't care what, you know, you don't care about them taking their time, just putting you back together. You've got your baby. So for me and my anxiety and my mental state, a C-section was the right way to go. But like I said, I'll go into that in another video. Sorry this video is quite long, and sorry if it was a bit boring. But that's my experience. I was scared. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't have a lot of fun, which I regret now. I wish I had just, now I know he's okay, I wish I've just relaxed a bit more and really enjoyed it, because I was so excited to be pregnant and just feel this life growing and just thinking it's going to be the most amazing thing, but fear just completely took over. But like I said, I don't think, Oliver, I'm 99.9% sure is going to be an only child, but you never know. You know, a few years ago, I didn't even want a child. I was adamant that I just didn't want kids, and then suddenly I woke up one morning and I was like, well, you know, I've hit that stage, I want a baby. And it was a long, painful process getting him, but it's the best. He makes me so happy. He is my absolute world, and I wouldn't change a thing, not one thing about him or just anything. I absolutely love him. It's the best job in the world, it really is. But I really hope you enjoyed that. Sorry if it was a bit long, but I didn't really plan anything. I just thought I'll go with it, you know, I'll just talk from the heart really. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please let me know if you want a video on any topic that I've talked about. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!